Today's event is the second in a three-part series this October, focused on the election season that we're facing here in the US. The goal of today is really to learn from other electoral crises that have happened recently in three particular countries that share characteristics with the United States, especially a state of high political polarization and similar risks around contested results, risks of outbreaks of violence around the elections, and more. With that, I'm so delighted to introduce our four incredible speakers today. First of all, we have Krzysztof Idebski of I Państwo Foundation, which is based in Warsaw, Poland. Next, we will move to Rodrigo Diamanti. He's been living in exile out of Venezuela since 2015, after he was arbitrarily detained in 2014. Our third speaker is Manu Bhagavan. He'll be sharing some perspectives on challenges to democracy faced in India.
What we're going to do is start with 5 minutes each on where these countries are, what has happened in these countries over the last few years. So Krzysztof, I'm going to turn to you first to give us a quick overview. What's happened to Poland? Why are you here?
It is naive to say that the strong institutions would protect us because they're living human beings who form these institutions. So they are putting their political agenda. The institution, the walls of the institution can't protect the democracy if the people are not willing to do so.
Polarization is not a disease that we have to that we could underestimate. It's actually the open gate for later in Venezuela. This was persecution, and with persecution, control.
In 2016, I saw a number of parallels between Modi and Donald Trump, and this spurred me to write about the rise of global authoritarianism, Modi's love of show and the spotlight and media attention. He rolled out some big things because he loved to get the attention for it. Meanwhile, across India, hate crimes and other attacks on marginal communities and intellectuals began to rise, picking up steam after 2016, paralleling things in the US and around the world.
We can't rely on institutions as checks because institutions don't check belief.
Democracy reposes on you, and you have to take responsibility of your own country, each one of us. And thinking that politicians are the responsible of what is happening in your country, I think that's the worst mistake that you can make. Everyone is as responsible for the future of your country, and if you don't take care of it, you can end up in a situation like us, at least for Venezuela, where we lost the country and we don't know when we're going to recover. I think presidents are symptoms of disease inside society. I think it's more important than thinking only about Trump or Biden.
We need to think of those followers of the other side more as believers than regular political citizens, and not try to fight with rational arguments, not try to convince with data and so on. There's an identity going on here that is not going to be altered with rational argument. This polarization itself is a disease in our society, and I think a lot of the questions got to this. How do you defend institutions if the institutions themselves aren't really worth defending because they were problematic in the first place? Finding ways to deal with this disease of polarization is the crucial key to not getting stuck in the situation that Rodrigo is talking about, where you're fighting on their playing field.
I don't believe we have electorates anymore. We have believers, and that's one of the consequences of the polarization. And it's a very conscious tactic, political tactics, because it helps to win political battles, not only elections.
And the best example is like a thief when he's going to enter to your house or is going to steal you something in the street. He already analyzed all your responses. So every type of response that you will do, he already have a plan against that.
Also, when we're talking about polarization, maybe majority or the significant number of citizens are completely indifferent towards what's happening on the level of the states, in the public administration, etc. What they really want, and it's understandable, is to have a decent life. A lot of people were saying, even those indifferent ones, is that every politician steals, but these guys are sharing with us.
I don't just see Trump as any other authoritarian populist. I see him as a totem around the world. And I think if he goes down electorally, it's possible that that might reignite opposition forces, not just in the United States, but around the world.
Freedom of expression is the most important human right because it's the only one defend the rest of human rights.
All is not yet lost. All is not yet lost. If you have anything to do with the United States and you're eligible to vote, vote anywhere in the world. If you believe in democracy, stand up for it. Stand up for it. Make your voice heard, and look for alliances. I still fundamentally believe that the believers in and defenders of democracy outnumber everyone else. And I think that there's still hope. The one thing authoritarians around the world and enemies of democracy want is for believers in democracy to lose faith and hope. And we must not allow that to happen.